My grandfather's Algerian.
Oh.
So that's how I ended up.
Fancy France. Oh, yeah. Spicy France.
Yeah.
As I'd call it.
Yes, very spicy.
Croissants. Welcome to the Jew York Times. On today's episode, special guest, we are in Ramat Gan.
Yes.
The Cleveland of Tel Aviv, talking to influencer Margot TouiTou. I definitely did not get that right.
TouiTou.
Margot TouiTou.
Yes.
Margot Explains It All. I feel like we've been gearing up towards an interview for the past couple of, maybe the year.
Yeah.
I'd say. I think it was supposed to happen in March when I was here.
Yeah, something interrupted that, but you know.
A little. You know what? We got then what we didn't get now. So maybe we got it out of our system.
It's meant to be.
How you doing? You were telling me you are Algerian?
Yes. That's why I have the last name TouiTou.
Yes.
My grandfather was actually born in Algeria.
Spicy French.
Yes. Croissants with schrog.
Oh.
And my father was born here in Israel. So
nice.
TouiTou is the last name.
You grew up in Denver?
I grew up in Denver, Colorado. Yeah, I was originally born in Omaha, Nebraska, and moved to Denver when I was 8.
Okay, this is shocking to me because you have like the subtlest accent. Like the subtlest. There is an accent in there. Do you not think you have an accent?
So they say that Denver people are the most neutral American accent. So we don't have a lot of words that define our region, but I've never been told I have an accent before.
I definitely hear. I always thought that you had a twang to your accent.
I sometimes could, or a little country.
Oh, hey.
I got a little white trash in me, for sure.
You ever whip out a Heavens to Betsy in Tel Aviv at all?
Not quite, but I do. I'll put that in the lexicon, actually.
You throw it in there. Throw it at somebody.
Christ on a cracker comes out a lot.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So. What about like oh my stars and garters? Like
that's more
that.
Southern.
Okay, that is a little
than
Southern.
Like Midwest. You know,
maybe like that's like the A's, the don't ya knows. You ever whip out a don't ya know at an aroma?
See, now that's a little more like North and South Dakota, Michigan. The Midwest is very neutral.
Is it more like I'm from Denver, man?
No.
That was Jamaican.
No.
That was a Jamaican joke.
It's not it at all.
But that's actually surprising. I didn't know that you had such like a Midwest background in your I feel like, do your followers know that you have a Midwest history?
Some of them do, yeah. I mean, ranch is running through my blood at all times.
Yes.
I love all things deep fried and dipped in ranch. My palate is very Midwestern in terms of what I like to eat. And
does
and
Israel have a version of a state fair? Like, do they have that thing where there's like the crappy food, like where you're getting like fried Oreos and deep fried bamba?
I mean, I think the closest thing would be the Tel Aviv Food Festival, which my followers know I do not condone or endorse or encourage them to attend in any way.
Why not?
No self-respecting Tel Avivian would ever go to that.
Why not?
It's just, I'm going to sound like a snob, but it's not, it's all the stuff that you can order on Wolt any other day of the year, but they put it all in Charles Clore Park and you have to stand around with a bunch of teenagers and it's a humiliation ritual.
I mean, that's the Bryant Park Food Fair.
Yes,
for sure. That is all of those.
Exactly.
I guess like all of the transient cities have crappy food fairs, but the real good food fairs are the ones that are in cities that don't have people.
Exactly.
The best food fair you'll go to is like in Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh my God. A food fair in Muskogee?
There you go.
Oh, the Muskogee Food Fair. You gotta go there.
I'm there.
I got a bunch of stuff that I want to talk with you about, specifically like in politics. I also want to give a shout out to Blue. I've never had a Blue before, and I was on the way here seeing if I needed to get a Red Bull or something, and this was right next to it. So we are going to see, there's going to be an experiment that's going to happen, how my insides are going to deal with this mentally.
They might need to cut you a check after that. It smells just like Red Bull, and I used to have a crippling Red Bull addiction in college, so I love the smell of that.
This is my 6th one today, and I'm waiting for... No, I'm joking. This is the first one. I'm curious if it's going to make me more amped up, because I did an XL. I had an XL like 2 days ago, and there was no Red Bull, and I was actually shocked at how like jittery it made me.
It's like prison meth.
Yeah, you guys, the issue is that maybe there's a little bit too much blue in the IDF. You know what I mean? I think that they should be just doing coffee out there.
Yeah, we're going to start calling you Neorai if you keep drinking that.
What's that?
Basically, it is the new official, unofficial nickname of like the young... Some people say that the word ars is a slur. I don't really, I mean, it's pretty big part of the lexicon. I don't really think it's in slur territory, but it can be offensive to some. But it's the name kind of given to a lot of people. Like, okay, so Neorai, for those who aren't, familiar, has been a really popular term and meme and word been used in Israel lately to kind of describe like the young teenage arse boy. There's a lot of different... if you were going to make a Neorai starter pack, XL or Blue would definitely be in it.
How tight are the jeans tighter than like arse jeans?
They're actually black sweatpants.
Oh.
Yeah.
Big t-shirt? Huge big t-shirt?
Black t-shirt, tzitzit, black kippah.
Oh, there's a tzitzit element to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because the arsim aren't religious from...
A lot of them are rocking the black kippah, and there's a whole new demographic shift that has kind of been emerging.
You got to do a video on the different arsim, the different douchebags. And would you not douchebags?
No, let's be careful. I don't want to get canceled. Let's say
scumlords. Is that?
Yeah, it's just characterizations of different demographics that exist anywhere. Honestly, it's like.
Are you running for office? That was the most apolitical answer to describe.
Well, I don't want to look. I mean, a lot of times people say that the word arse is it does originate from as a characterization in a word kind of used to describe the lower income Mizrahi Jews who came to Israel in the 50s and 60s and were pretty discriminated against. Now
I've been throwing it around pretty casually as well.
Well, look, I mean, it is kind of part of the lexicon, but I do think it's good to know kind of like the roots of it, because I've been accused of some biases or bigotry for using the word, even though it is part of the daily lexicon. Yeah. Of Israel, but Neorai is kind of the Chad of. Got it. Yeah, it's like a way to kind of describe it using a popular name. Interesting. A lot of them do have.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Now, American audiences at home, there you go.
Yes.
If you want to sound cool, use this term.
Neorai.
If you want to sound like a racist, use the word arse. Apparently, like I have been.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who you're saying it to. Most people probably wouldn't care.
Mostly, I say it to minorities. No, it's a joke. That was an incredible.
Keep it up.
Margot, a couple of things. First of all, the first thing I want to talk to you about is that you had posted something on your Instagram a couple of months ago about how Israel likes to use the LGBTQ community as one of its big galvanizing, like, hey, you can be gay here and you can't be gay anywhere else. This is the only place that you can be gay, which isn't false-ish. But it also comes with this big caveat, and that is that currently in Israel, it's a very right-wing, very religious, anti-gay government and a population that doesn't feel thrilled about the gays. Can you just talk to me a little bit about what that like contradiction is like to be in Israel? You're a member of the community, LGBTQ community, or
no? I'm an ally. Yeah. I sadly. Despite all my attempts, I am a straight woman.
Oh, no. All of it. Listen, a couple of blues.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Hey, who knows? But yeah, I think one of the things that really grinds my gears about people using the LGBTQ plus community and tokenizing them is that they don't actually know about the day-to-day experiences that queer people are having and the things and the challenges that they're fighting in this country. And a lot of people don't realize when I talk about this on my social media, especially a lot of Olim or Jews in the diaspora who love Israel and who've been to Tel Aviv, maybe 6 to 10 years ago, know it as the international gay city of the Middle East. And I think a lot of that has changed because there's been huge demographic shifts in our country. And as you mentioned, a lot of shifts toward more right-wing and religious extremism and nationalism that has made even places like Tel Aviv very hostile to queer Israelis. And it kind of pisses me off when people use, whether it be queer people or women, to tout Israel as this beacon of liberal values, which it still can be and it still is, but not really understanding that the experience on the ground is very different than that. Yeah. And that there are attacks on those rights happening as we speak.
So talk to me about like what the day-to-day is like for someone who is in the LGBTQ community living in Israel.
Well, like I said, I'm not queer. Yeah. I'm an ally, but I have many queer friends, whether they be trans folks or gay men, lesbians, just all kinds of queer friends. I cannot speak on their behalf, so don't think that I am. I'm not the straight girl trying to say that I slay queen. And
we need to have a gay fact checker in the corner.
But from speaking to a lot of people who are in my social media audience, my followers, it has become increasingly hostile. Even just to walk around in Tel Aviv, let's say like Thursday night has really become kind of a hotbed of violence, unfortunately, in Tel Aviv. If you were to walk around on Nachalat Binyamin and the corner of Rothschild, there are a lot of huge groups of teenagers who come, you know, as a New Yorker, you would say the bridge and tunnels.
New Jersey comes into Nachla Binyamin, which, by the way, just because of the American audiences, that is one of the more party-ish.
Yes.
That's where a lot of the bars are. That's where you guys say has good pizza at Pizza Har Sinai. Tell you right now, that is mid pizza.
There's most pizza in Israel is mid.
I have yet to have a slice out and be like, all right.
Brooklyn's pretty good.
Where's that?
That's on.
There's
one on King George and there's one on McVeigh Israel. Sponsor me, Brooklyn Pizza. I love
Look
you.
at that.
But so Rothschild and Nachla Binyamin has kind of become a hot spot of a lot of people coming from outside of Tel Aviv, who, you know, a lot of young teenage boys mostly who are behaving increasingly violent towards outwardly or visibly queer people, residents of Tel Aviv who pay a lot of money in taxes and rent to live in the city and to be in a gay-friendly part of Israel. And just a couple weeks ago, there was an attack on a young trans Israeli, and a group of young hostile teenage boys threw rocks at them. And it kind of became, it circulated in Israeli media. I don't think that it left the Israeli, you know, or the Hebrew speaking sphere, but it happens all the time. I mean, I can tell you that a lot of my friends have just been walking with their partners and been accosted or yelled at, slurs thrown at the, you know, verbal slurs, been spit at, been thrown things at, been yelled at from their cars, harassed, and worse, you know. Shout out to, I don't know if Genderica will see this, but I highly recommend, if you care about the lives of queer Israelis, to follow Genderica on Instagram and TikTok. Genderica is an amazing drag queen who talks a lot about this and who highlights in Hebrew, but you can kind of get the vibe from what Genderica has been sharing on Genderica's stories. I'm not sure what Genderica's pronouns are in English, but they've also been, you know, humiliated, attacked, harassed.
Does this get covered like in the news out here? Because I'll tell you right now, the issue in America is that the American relationship to Israel, specifically in the Hasbara universe, I would say, is beautiful and toxic at the same exact time. And you never hear about this gay issue in American circles.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll talk about the Israeli side of it, but it doesn't get picked up in American circles. One big reason is because the act of saying that anything is wrong with Israel right now could be viewed as anti-Zionist, you know, you're on that side, which is like, it's not that it's not fair, but it also has led to stuff being completely pushed to the side. The racism issues here, like there's hateful issues that are out here. And a lot of times the fact of like doing Hasbara and like speaking up for the country is used as a reason to not cover these things that are actual problems here. Doesn't get any news in America. Does it get news out here? Like, is it covered?
It is it's mostly in Hebrew speaking media, and you know, you kind of have to look for it. I've built my algorithm. We all build our own algorithms brick by brick, so to speak. So I see a lot of it because I've engaged with a lot of that content and followed a lot of queer people that speak out on it. And, you know, I seek out that information when I want to know more about it. I think we have kind of like a media literacy crisis right now, where I really don't think people are doing a lot of their own searching and research about these things. And I do think that a lot of the media that Americans or Jews in the diaspora are getting is about defense and war and Lebanon, Gaza, Iran, all of that, and not so much about the actual ways that Israeli lives are impacted day to day because of our leadership, our government, our trauma.
Let me say that's unfair. We know about Eurovision.
Oh, that's true. Yes. Speaking of queer, protect queer art, Eurovision.
But
yes.
I mean, that speaks into this issue where it's like Eurovision is, you know, I'm straight, but I can say it's the gayest thing that's ever been
Yes, it's
made.
very camp. It's very queer.
It's awesome.
Also, Israel's involvement in Eurovision is inherently queer art. Dana International, and it's. Oh, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Like, I'm not a huge Eurovision fan, but I respect what it means to queer culture here in Israel. I think that there is a huge, huge assault on the rights of queer Israelis.
Can you be specific about like what the government is doing against?
Yeah, so I would say that, I mean, the more that we institutionalize extreme religious belief into our basic laws, as just happened a couple weeks ago, that will automatically mean that anti-woman, anti-queer legislation will follow that. So there's countless examples. I think only recently was conversion therapy outlawed. I know that a lot of that still happens. I just think, like, from the experience on the street day to day, like, it's in that. And then I think the more right wing, the more religious our government becomes, it's only natural that those things, like I said, are gonna trickle down.
Over the past couple of weeks specifically, it's been kind of intense because they have the government's ending. New government is about to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, a new government is coming along. And because of that, they push through a lot of like legislation that obviously doesn't stick as law. The Supreme Court now has to rule on which of these laws that were passed or actually become laws. But a lot of them were about gender segregation, about codifying religious study as like I don't even know what the term they use, but basically to say it's as important as being in the army or as important.
Well, yes, an important distinction. The original draft that was written about the Israel doesn't have a formal constitution. Yeah. So in place of that, we have what is called basic law. So what happened was Torah study was elevated to a status of basic law as a value of the Jewish state. And luckily, the draft that equated Torah study to service in the IDF was not pushed through and didn't pass, but we almost got there. We also are seeing the passage. We're sitting here right now in Ramat Gan, just a couple miles from here, less meters even, in Bnei Barak. Yeah. We are seeing gender segregated streets, and the folks who are running the cities and the rabbis in charge of those communities have already said that they intend to spread those. So anytime we start to see, gender segregation, we can automatically assume that anti-queer legislation, they're twins in the same womb. Yeah. Misogyny and homophobia, I believe, are evil twins that were born in the same rotten womb.
I just want to give a shout out, by the way. If for more on basic laws, you can check out 2 episodes ago, 120 Angry Seats. Me and Shani Reichman are doing the run up to the election here. But it's interesting where it's like this system has allowed crazy ideas to kind of get like showcased in a way that looks that's very like official. Crazy ideas in a very official way that thankfully don't go further, but like remnants of it are still kind of like in the air.
Absolutely. Even if they don't, even if a new government comes and changes them, it shows how close we are getting to a theocracy in this country.
It really shows a pipeline also in my mind, because if you see, the prime minister has to build coalitions, and the coalitions involves them, getting in bed with strange bedfellows, literally the term. And, that leads towards psychotic rules being at least like humored by people that have very, official rankings and stuff.
Not just humored, but passed.
Yeah, humored.
Yeah.
My question is, we have the election coming up, and, we'll do the betting on this in a little bit, but with Gadi Eisenkot is currently leading in the polling. Who knows if that's going to stick? Obviously, we're still 3 months out, and Bibi's very good at being slippery. I'm pretty sure he covers himself in baby oil.
He's a Libra. When's your birthday, by the way?
May 25th.
Okay.
Gemini.
All right. All right. You're an air sign. Yeah. I could have told you that. You don't need any blue. Okay.
I'm a human blue can. I want to say, by the way, is that I got told, I don't know anything about astrology at all.
I do, but
can I blow your mind on something?
Please.
I used to be a full-time celebrity journalist. You don't know anything. I don't know if you know anything.
I am a celebrity, a pop culture junkie. I never knew that about you. That's
for
awesome.
2 years, I was writing for Elite Daily full-time.
Yo,
I was a full-time celebrity.
Used to check Elite Daily.
I used to.
Better than Barstool.
Barstool never humored me. Okay, they never got me. Although I will say, one time I got something into Bro Bible, which was
yep.
Bro Bible. I remember that they didn't, the edits that they did was that they just put curse words into my article. They didn't edit it. They just were like, they put an F word here.
Really?
And then it was the funniest thing. Okay. But when I was at Elite Daily, I don't know anything about astrology at all. I didn't know anything about the Kardashians either. They wrote like 5 articles about them a day for 2 years.
Okay.
And they were like, you got to do astrology. I was like, I don't know how to do astrology. And they're like, you got to do astrology. So what I would do is I copy and paste everyone else's astrology, and just, that was it. So astrology out there, if you're reading it online, is probably copied and pasted from another person's astrological
For
thing.
sure.
It's like candy corn. There was one astrological thing that was made and everyone just kind of repackages
it. The concept of horoscopes, back in the day, looking in the newspaper for your horoscope, that's not the kind of astrology that I'm into.
What are you into? You looking at the sun? And
a horoscope is actually just looking at the planets and where they're at in any given time. It's not, today you're going to go and stub your toe at 12:30 p.m.
Like, you know what? Women shouldn't have rights. I'm all for B'nai Brak's gender segregation thing. Do you think that B'nai Brak did the gender segregation street because the women kept on bringing up astrological signs?
Probably, but here's the thing. I have a theory that men don't like astrology because it allows women to just characterize them and clock them a little bit more.
No, that you're thinking too deep of the men.
Right.
We don't think anything past that.
I'm just, my woman brain is probably just,
the issue is that
it's not that deep.
Your woman brain is really overestimating what the male brain is thinking about whenever we get astrological signs.
I don't even think they realize it. No. I think that they hate it because it is something that is an inherently feminine interest, like Taylor Swift. I love to bring up Taylor Swift and astrology subtly on first dates just to see how guys react because it's something that I'm into, and if they are inherently bashing or have this visceral reaction to something that I think about all the time, then clearly it's not a compatible match. But Gotti Eisenkot, anyways.
Do you think Gotti Eisenkot's a Swiftie?
Maybe.
You know what's kind of funny to me about some of the boycotts against Israel is that who is when Dua Lipa, did Dua Lipa take her stuff out of Israel? Who was that? Was that Grimes?
Lord
and stuff. The idea that Bibi Netanyahu is actually at home just like, fuck.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't listen to Lord?
I can't listen to melodrama.
What am I supposed to run to?
Yeah. It's
Gotti Eisenkot, though, huge Swiftie, as we all know. Do you think that Taylor Swift, I put this up on my Instagram, do you think Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have ever had sex? I don't think they have.
I saw that and I didn't want to comment on it.
But? Because you know I'm right.
Have you clearly you've never listened to The Life of a Showgirl.
Let me tell you right now, that Wood song, I said this a million times, was made by a lawyer. That is how a lawyer describes sex.
I think that was her attempt to kind of get in her Sabrina Carpenter bag.
That's the issue.
She's so much more I can't even get into that right now.
Because Taylor Swift is not, Sabrina Carpenter is one very specific thing, and Taylor Swift is more of a not matured, but she's had a whole career behind her. She's got a life behind her.
She has probably the most feminine body of artistic work that we can that has been archived in modern times.
Sabrina Carpenter big in Israel?
I think so. Yeah.
I think
she went platinum in our house. By our house, I mean me and my dog Junior.
That's it. Over and over. Let's talk about Gotti Eisenkot for a second. Right now on Kalshi, the Kalshi prediction market has Gotti Eisenkot at 52% chance of becoming the next prime minister. Bibi Netanyahu, 38%. And Naftali Bennett, who's had a rough 2 months, is what I would say.
He's an Aries, by the way.
That explains it. What is Gotti?
Gosh. I need to look it up. I looked it up and I can't remember.
Okay.
Let me go ahead. Continue. What's your question?
Gotti Eisenkot said 52% on Kalshi to be the next prime minister. Bibi Netanyahu is at 38%. Naftali Bennett is trending at 8%. Which of those odds are you putting money on?
Oh gosh, I'm not a betting woman.
Come on, we're all betting a little bit. If you had to bet, let's say someone gave you.
I hope this ages well. Listen, I am ABB. Anybody but BB.
Okay, but I'm talking about for you, if you had to guess how things are going to run out. And I want you to also, not just on this, think about all the other elections that have happened. Think about everything you know about Israel. Think about everything on how this place works and how things can change. 2 months ago, Bennett was in the lead. Gotti Eisenkot was kind of just like occasionally a comment on a Wall Street Journal post or something. And that's obviously changed tremendously. If you had to pick,
which one of them I think is going to win, or which one I would want to see as prime minister?
No. I'm not talking about which one is a prime minister. I'm talking about which one do you think is going to win? These are very two different things. We'd have President Justin Timberlake where I'm from if that was true.
Yeah. Today, and this could change. Don't hold me to this.
Anything could happen. I'm talking about October 27th based on today.
Today. Based on the poll, the actual polling I've seen, which is very, very important here in Israel, and I guess according to Kalshi,
Which is the most
probably
important.
Gotti.
You're going Gotti on this.
Today,
obviously.
It's so unpredictable, though.
Totally. And also, we don't know. A war could happen. Even though I did see that there was like really encouraging news that Likud said that they were having primaries regardless.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That was a little bit of a nice like side little like
yeah.
Maybe there is like some opposition inside of the Likud party against him. Okay, you think that Gotti is gonna pull through on
as
this?
of today?
As of today, of course. Obviously, nothing is like sticking and stuff like that. But
yeah,
Gotti goes through. Do you see those issues that we brought up earlier? Do you see them evaporating? Do you see them still being thought about? Like, where do we go next on the social side?
Here's what I want to say. A lot of people, when I talk about our country needing change, I am not a naive person. I've lived in this country for long enough to know that things happen very slowly. Okay. I think that the best case scenario is that we form a new government, opposition bloc, let's go, get the right-wing governments and the current coalition.
Everything congeals. The Gotti wins the election. He's able to make a whole government.
We have a majority opposition in the Knesset. We are going. The best case scenario is that we stabilize things. We are bleeding out in this country, and I think it's something that, and I don't mean to disparage or talk condescending to diaspora Jews, because I really don't mean that in any way, but I do sometimes think that they don't realize the internal issues. We are bleeding out. We have a demographic crisis in this country. We have issues that are happening that are unsustainable, including the Haredi draft exemption laws that are currently on the books. Our country, high-tech nation, all the things that we say we are, liberal democracy, high-tech nation, startup nation, all these things will cease to exist if we do not get control of the bleeding. We need to triage these things, best case scenario, and I think that that's going to take some time before we actually see the types of changes that we really need long term.
Do you see a future where that kind of gets handled?
It has to happen.
It
has to happen.
Like, what is the thing
then our country will become a theocracy where the majority of students and the children under the age of 18 are not learning math and science. We will become a country where young girls become married at the age of 18, 19, 20, and listen, I don't mean this as an anti-religious sentiment, okay? I think the best thing that we need to understand right now is one another. We do not have to agree with each other. But if we do not understand the Haredim, if we do not understand their motives, that's, we just had Tisha B'Av, to take it to a really Jewy place. We fasted and we talked about the redemption of our people and the rebuilding of Beit HaMikdash. If we really think about that, it's not about necessarily agreeing with everyone. It's about understanding these things.
What do you think people don't understand about the Haredim?
The demographic realities that by 2030, I think it's a quarter of the population under the age of 20 will be Haredi.
Do you think,
Don't quote me on that, because that stat could be wrong, but it is.
Yeah.
I shared it the other day, and I don't have it memorized, but
I think you got it right. That was 2030.
Regardless of the numbers, there is a demographic crisis that we are facing, in which the minority of people, we're just talking about, it's neutral, right? We're just talking about population realities, okay? Haredim have more children than their counterparts demographically.
But isn't that one of the things that I've thought about, and Chaviv Redegor one time spoke about, he talked about the Haredi community, about how they cannot continue to go on the way that they have gone on. Is that there is a financial kind of like ceiling that they will hit, especially because if last year Israel broke a record with exports, and I think it was like 189 billion or something. Most of that though was from high tech. It was from high tech sales. It was the sale
but who's going to be working in high tech in 20 years?
So that's the whole. Well, then that's the next thing. Like, there's going to be a new thing next year, and then to be honest, Israel's economy, once the AI bubble happens, because it's going to happen. I mean, we're already seeing
it's
so
already
many
bursting, baby.
It's already there. You know, if you walk through Tel Aviv, one thing that I think American Jews don't understand is that layoffs is a big issue.
Oh,
here.
it's happened just this week.
600 something from, was it Waze or was it
Monday? Monday laid off 20% of their employees.
Yeah.
A couple months. I mean, maybe it was a month or two ago. Wix laid off. I want to say it was hundreds, maybe even like over 1,000 employees. I just left my tech job actually in this economy, which is a whole other conversation. But
you left willingly?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I just, the AI-ification of it all. I just wanted to explore something
But I'm
else,
saying like that, you know, once again, people in America, I think, don't understand like how much it is hitting here. After the .com bubble burst in the early 2000s, like it hit Israel really, really, really hard. And there is another version of that is coming down the pipeline, or that is already here and that we are experiencing. My thought, though, is that will move on to the next industry. Like defense tech is going to be kind of like where the next couple of years of this economy is going to be propped up by, for better or for worse. Israel's been fighting a war. I mean, for worse, obviously, but it has given some financial a future to where Israel just becomes like a weapons manufacturer, which is not a great thing because then you do lose a lot of that creativity. What are the things that you want to tell American Jews about Israel, specifically coming up to this election, that they do not know?
That there are anti-Zionist parties that are responsible for upholding the Israeli government. When I talk about parties like Shas and the way that the current governing coalition of this country is running, they are they're anti-Zionist. I'm gonna look you right in the eyes and tell you that. These there are also religious Zionism. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the Smotriches and the Ben-Gvirs. I'm talking about Shas and these parties of ultra-Orthodox men, because women aren't allowed to join those parties. Remember, they are anti-Zionist. The reason they do not want to serve in the army is because they do not want to serve in the Zionist modern state of Israel. You guys, I'm not making this up. Look at any of the signs and the literature and the talking points around the Haredi anti-draft protests. They are anti-Zionist. They do not celebrate Yom Ha'atzmaut. They do not believe in the IDF. They do not believe in Israel as a Jewish Zionist place because they do not believe religiously, fundamentally, that we have gotten there as a Jewish people. They are anti-Zionist, guys.
How does Bibi square that, though? You know, this is Shas, you know, they're all part of like the Bibi coalition. How does his voters don't like that?
I don't know if they realize that either, but I do think that a lot of the recent activity and fuckery of the Haredi men protesting is really starting to become they're shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah. Because ordinary Israelis not being able to get home from their jobs that they work where they are taxed to death to pay for those boys to sit and jerk off in fucking yeshiva all day. People are getting over it.
And I think there's some Gemara class there, but most
yeah. I mean, sorry to be vulgar, but like, whatever.
No, you're 100% right. But this is also the point where it's like they require food stamps. They require school tax credits. They require certain things that are propped up by, you know, an Israeli economy.
Yeah, how much of your paycheck is going towards, you know, if you're a tax-paying Israeli citizen, how much of your money is going to anti-Zionist populations? Guys, and I'm not anti-Haredi. I don't want it to come off that way. And I think that that's a very important distinction we need to have. When I talk about these things, at least for me personally, I can speak on my own behalf. I am not anti-Haredi, okay? I understand their motivations. I'm not from that community. I've never been part of that community, but you know, they are motivated by repopulation after the Jewish people were genocided during the Holocaust. Okay. We all, as part of Am Yisrael, as part of one collective people, have our role. However, when you got to carry your weight, that's how it works. Yeah. That's how it works.
How would you approach the Haredim then? Because you're not anti-Haredi. Like, that's right. Force them to look at something. Okay, so after you're done flashing them, but like, how do you engage with that? Like, what is the tool here? Is it just cutting off their funding, or is it something deeper than that?
That's also not that simple, because then we're leaving lots of Jewish people, lots of Israeli people without basic needs. Here is my solution.
Yeah.
Gender fucking equality. Okay. We have to empower.
Yeah, but you're not going to get that into the Haredi community. Let's talk about like,
yes, you can. Yes, you can.
How?
Yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely can. You can find ways to. I understand your skepticism about that. Yeah. But if we believe things like that, I'm not, if we don't believe that it's possible for women of those communities or women of any marginalized community or women in general to find their rights, then we're fucked. Like, yeah. I truly believe that having an opportunity for more Haredi women to enter the workforce, to enter, to get education. Now, a lot of people might dog on me for this, but there was actually a recent law that was just passed a couple weeks ago in the Knesset that would allow the proponents of the law. One of them was a woman who wrote the bill. It's a bill that would allow for gender segregation in higher education. And the proponents of the bill say that it would allow for more Haredi women to enter higher education and therefore the workforce and STEM and all that. But let's be honest, like what it's really going to, maybe I'm not a fortune teller, I can't see to the future, but in practice, what a lot of that does is just going to end up meaning more segregation, and more opportunities for men, period. Whenever there's gender segregation, like it's never going to be good for women.
We need to put the women into the weapons defense factories.
Something.
Rachel the Riveter.
Something.
I think it needs to happen. Like, bunch of Haredi women with screw guns and stuff.
Yeah. I think they could be good. But I think that like economic and educational opportunities for women to participate in society where we are making up 50% of the population and doing, 95% of the domestic unpaid labor. Like, I mean, I just truly think that that's the solution.
I think that Americans can kind of bond with the Israelis on this specific thing, specifically the New Yorkers. And I will say this, specifically the anti-Zionist New Yorkers, because, and this is a crazy connection, but Bibi and Mamdani
are both Libras. And they're both married.
Who would have thought? Wait, what's the Libra? What does that mean?
The scales.
No, okay, but what is that like? What is their trait?
Okay, so Libras at their best. Libra is ruled by Venus, which is very much the aesthetics and comforts and luxuries. At their best, Libras are very able to see both sides and able to create warm, aesthetic, comfortable environments. But at their worst, when they're out of balance, they can be indecisive. They can follow whatever is popular. Look at Bibi's
following whatever popular is. That is the trait.
Look, we're all susceptible to that. But when the scales get out of balance,
they are out of balance.
They're completely out of balance.
Wait, this is so interesting. Mamdani, Zohran Mamdani, and Bibi Netanyahu, both Libras. Both currently in situations where the scales are very out of balance. Both populous. They're both going wherever the likes are in order to keep on going.
Both married to water signs.
Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm. Sarah is a Scorpio and Mamdani's wife is a Cancer.
Both, and I will say very silent wives that have created huge ripples because of some of the actions that they've taken.
Yes, but then we get into like, Yoko Ono's the reason the Beatles broke up and we start blaming the women, and these men have a lot more agency.
I actually agree with that. Mamdani and Bibi were doing fine in their shittiness before they kind of there. But I mean,
Sarah does have a lot of, puppet master, but it's not because she's a woman behind the scenes. She's a Scorpio.
She's just hanging out. Sometimes you got it. But here's the thing. The Zohran and Bibi have one very specific thing in common, and that is that their handling of the extreme Orthodox Jewish communities in their respective countries. Bibi has obviously brought into his coalition toxic, like you said, like anti-Zionist, but like aggressively religious Haredim. Mamdani, during his election campaign, did end up having to work with the Hasidic community in New York, specifically the Aronim, I think, went towards him, not the Salonim, or one of them and not the other one. And the reason why is because the Hasidim, they want child tax credits. They want food stamps. They didn't want bike lanes in, going in front of 770 or whatever.
Yep.
And that forced Mamdani to take a really weird partnership with the Hasidic community, who also, I will say, do they like Israel? You know, do they view some of the secularism of Israel as like a net negative on the Jewish community as a whole? You know, it's out there, but it is a very specific, interesting thing about these two guys is that they were really willing to work with places in the Jewish community spectrum in order to get through and to continue their government.
Yeah, I do think that the wrong type of leaders like Bibi, like Mamdani, who will do whatever it takes to be charismatic and appear a certain way, but to cling to power will either... I would say also that even though there are many concessions being made to the Haredim, I also think there is a great deal of taking advantage of and using them to cling to power.
Yeah.
You know, as you just described.
Yeah.
So
I just want to wrap up this in like one sentence. I just want to say, Zohar Mamdani, Bibi Netanyahu, Libras who are sympathetic to Hasidic and Haredi Jews. Who would have thought? That's a very interesting thing.
There you go.
I want to speed run through a couple of these things. What do you want anti-Zionists in America to know about this election?
I don't give a shit about what they think about this election. This is a family matter. It doesn't matter. I have seen so many things of highlights on like CNN about Eisenkot or the new governments that are going to come in and potentially replace Bibi. They don't care. They see IDF general, IDF soldier is still prime minister, which will be every prime minister.
Yeah. But can I fight back on this? Because there's actually a note that I was going to talk about later here. And this is my hot take, is that maybe a year and a half ago, I would totally be in agreement with you, which is not a word, but I would agree with you that I think the American Jewish community, which has a very toxic relationship to Israel, just is what it is. I think that it's a very close, but very like, I don't know, we're fighting two different fights here.
Sure.
The relationship is just, it gets toxic at certain points.
Yeah.
Over the past year, it has become very clear that Israel does affect our elections. We got Zoran. Yeah. You're from Denver, Melot Kiros. Daria Lisa Chevalier defeated, Espaillat, Claire Valdez. Before these elections, I'm with you on that. I'm like, yeah, I think Americans are kind of talking too much up. And you know what? This is a family matter. And maybe we should not go out there. American Jews don't have an ability to not sway, but don't really have an ability to talk about this thing in the way that now.
Are you talking about, I thought you asked American anti-Zionists.
Yeah. But I'm saying that this has become an issue in America where our elections are officially getting pulled in certain directions because of Israel in a way that it was not happening a couple of months ago. Okay.
All right. Here's what I'll say. Yeah. You're right. And I agree with you completely. I don't think that Israelis give a fuck what Americans think in most, like,
but should that come into, but
it should. I will say this. To the anti-Zionists, as I said before about the Haredim, if we have to find a place where we can agree on something, not all of us, but unfortunately, millions of Israelis want Bibi out as well. You guys have to understand that. Yeah. We are just as fed up with our leadership as you for different reasons. Okay. So there's that aspect to it. Also,
I just want to put
if we reelect Bibi Netanyahu, done. We will officially, anybody who cares about the state of Israel being legitimized, it's seen as legitimate outside of this country, we must vote Bibi out of power. We will officially become a pariah state if the elections don't change the leadership. Period. Like that is, it is that serious. It is that deep. To your point, everything that happens here impacts, unfortunately, for better or for worse, political systems outside of Israel
for the first time in a real way, in like a real way where you're seeing people who should not be in Congress. Like, even if I have like an ideological difference with them, there's like actual lack of experience and like a question, like if you're running a DSA campaign in the Bronx and your entire thing is about Israel, like there's no room for housing.
We're seeing Nazi level anti-Semitism,
and I just want to say, like,
a talking point
on the thing you said earlier is that when Mamdani made that whole, like, I'm going to arrest Bibi thing, and then when he made the speech where he calls him a war criminal, everyone's like, oh, he called him a war criminal. I'm like, dude, everyone has a gripe with this guy. Whether they go as far,
he is a criminal and he does need to go to jail.
It's not unique to say that you don't like Bibi. It's not the mic drop. It's not like the gotcha moment that you think it is at this point, because a lot of people, most people don't, feel this way about him. Yeah. Okay, here's my next question. Mm-hmm. What do you want non-Jews who are not pro-Israel, not anti-Israel, just are existing in a place where they get regular news, what do you want them to know about this election?
That Israelis are human beings. We are not just a conglomerate. We are not a monoculture of homogenous thinking and beliefs, that we are such a diverse population of people with incredibly different challenges and traumas and desires for our country, that most of us just want to live our lives like every human being. And when you strike us, it hurts us to, what is the saying? When you hit us, do we not bleed? You know what I mean? Like, we want change in our country too. We are not this giant, war-hungry, murderous, monolithic presence in the Middle East. We're ordinary people with values that are very much aligned with those that the non-Jewish world has as well, and that most of their understanding of the Jewish people and of the state of Israel, unfortunately, is rooted in anti-Jewish hatred and propaganda. Yeah. And they really need to maybe be willing to listen to that and accept that and make a change.
I think that over the next 2 years, depending on how this election goes, let's say, fingers crossed, like things end up happening and Bibi does not go back into office, I think that there is going to be a little bit of like a moment of reckoning in certain spaces about how hard in the paint people went against Israel. Specifically candidates.
We're starting to see a little bit of it.
You are starting to see a little bit. You are seeing
the comment section. Israel was right. We should have listened. Yeah, have you seen that?
I've been seeing a lot of like frustration against Mamdani for saying that he was going to arrest Bibi.
Yeah,
is what I would say, and I think that is starting to infect like places where like people do feel lied to. Like, I think that there is an element to where he didn't know the entire time. And then all of a sudden he was like, I couldn't do it.
I learned about that from you, by the way, from your post. Thank you, Eitan the goalie.
New York Times.
I think it also highlighted people's misunderstanding of their, like they felt scammed and stupid on their own front.
He's not going to get them buses, and and this grocery store thing is already an issue. Like it's not going smoothly. And I think that a lot of his crazier things that he had promised are not going his way. And I will say this, we got an election in 2 years for the mayor. And that's going to be a primary that's going to start in about a year and a half or something, that we're going to start to figure out who is going to be fighting him in the Democrat primary, because there will be a Democrat that is going to go up against. He will have to go through a primary process.
Yeah.
The Democrats are specifically the centrist Democrats. All of the things you think about centrist Democrats and them, the money or whatever, which is a big lie. The other side also has that money. Code Pink, like they're funding out there. They're going out there and funding the DSA. I hated Cuomo. Would never vote for Cuomo. Could not vote for. Did not vote for Cuomo.
Such a cringe campaign on behalf of the October 8th influencers. Y'all need to have your fucking internet access revoked. I said it. You know who you are.
There's certain people that like women until they don't need to like women. In which case they're like, 13 open sexual harassment cases. Who cares? He's Italian.
Well, and does that not harken back to the beginning of our conversation when we were talking about queer Israelis? You love queer Israelis until you don't. You love women until you don't.
And I will say, not to clavicular this.
I was just going to go there.
But if we're going to clavicular it, then the clavicular of it all is that the people
believe Israeli women are October 7th victims of sexual violence, men and women, but this is a good thing for Israel.
And the biggest people that were for him or were for ignoring, his sexual misconduct were people that were brought on by, the Cuomo campaign and were very much like influencing how to talk about Mamdani.
And who made a platform and who became rich and wealthy based on Israeli trauma after October 7th, who built an entire financial legacy and wealth based on experiences that they were not having here in Israel.
Do you know about the Lizzie Savetsky?
Oh, don't even.
Do you know about the bloody pants thing?
Oh,
The let's do something. Did you send me that?
I was
or
the
is
one who sent you that.
the craziest thing. I'm not even going to go into it because it is like a disgusting thing, but like.
Well, I will.
Go.
Lizzie Savetsky was the same person who, along with the Let's Do Something guys who brought Clavicular to Israel, went to, I don't know, fucking Hobby Lobby over in Chelsea and bought herself some fake blood, smeared it on her pants, dressed up like October 7th hostage Nama Levy, who I believe was 19 years old and clearly a victim of Hamas sexual violence against women, and cosplayed as a Israeli hostage and let those boys put like a fucking chain around her with a sign and parade her around Times Square.
Did they get permission from the family to do that?
They brought Clavicular to Israel.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I don't know. But like, this is the same woman who catapulted herself to stratospheric levels of popularity within the Jewish and Hasbara, I hate that word, but community.
Yeah.
Who cosplayed as an October 7th rape victim. And then said Clavicular in Israel is a good thing. Guys.
Because of his following. That was it. It was because of his following. She literally said it was because of the following.
Like, understand who you idolize. Yeah. Understand who you're hyping, who you're gassing up.
Yeah. 100%.
Those people are actually your up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to speed run through these. Okay. Next question is, tell me if Israelis care about this thing.
Okay.
Because this is my American audience out there. I'm going to list 4 things right now. The first thing is clavicular. Now that we've talked about it, did Israelis care about that?
Yes.
Okay.
They didn't know who I'm chronically online, so not to sound like a douchebag, but I knew who clavicular was before.
Yeah.
They cared about it for a couple weeks. I don't think that we've talked about clavicular since because, we're on the brink of war and elections. They cared about it from a sense of, מי זה הדוש הזה שמגיע לארץ? מה הוא עושה כאן? And they began to care once Shira Braun was removed from her job in the IDF. I don't
for her. I think that I guess my big takeaway from that was I didn't understand why Israel has a TikTok. The IDF should not have a TikTok. The IDF, the Instagram should be notes app and it should be information. Here's all I'll say. Without you shitting on it, the quality of the work to me is irrelevant because I question what is the purpose? Like, is it to get followers? Is it to get likes? Is it to get views? Because I think that is a dangerous thing because that makes you do like crazy stuff. And I'm saying this isn't from them. I know that they're getting orders from on high and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's to have representation that's just as culturally relevant as the other side.
But no one else is. But the other side is not doing it from official accounts. Like when you have Lego, like the Iranian regime isn't putting out the Lego thing. They're paying for it and then they're hiring someone to go and post it. It just seems like that money, honestly, when we're talking about like misuse of funds and Hasbara money, do you know how much money Israel's spending on PR?
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Last budget was $130 billion. Do you want to know what the PR budget is next time?
No, but tell me.
Take a guess and then double it. I'm curious if it's bigger. It was 130 last time and it went 130 million last time and it went up.
Million or billion?
Million.
500.
730 million.
I'm gonna shit my dick.
Yeah, she's shitting her dick off, y'all.
I'm sorry, Dad. Don't listen to this. Like vulgarity.
Times of Israel. That is you can go and fact check all that. 730 million for PR, which is a problem. And there's a bigger Hasbara issue. There's a bigger Hasbara episode that because I will not get brought into this.
Let's do a second episode.
There will be 100%. There's more coming to that. Okay, wait. Next question. Do Israelis care about Mamdani?
They're starting to. Yeah.
Why?
Because they want to live in New York. And no, really.
That's so funny. So true.
I have very dear friends who have been, relocated to New York for employment opportunities, very highly specialized, incredibly smart, wonderful people. And it's a big concern, I think, especially for people who have family in the US or Israelis who move abroad. I was an Israeli who I was relocated to New York for a tech job. There's a lot of that still happening. Silicon Alley, I think is what they call it in New York. Yeah. There's a lot of Israelis. They care. They care. So
when they care, when you say they care, what is the thing that they care about? Just like is New York becoming the caliphate, or are they just like
Israelis care about that. I don't know if they're using the word caliphate. Maybe they are or not, but
whatever it is, there's a
benzona they can.
I will say, as someone that lives in New York, like it's not as bad, but it is like weird, is what I would say. Things got weird. I don't think it's like when it's not as bad, but it is bad, but it's not as bad. But it's like, how do you pick and choose fights when you have the craziest people who are getting the most views making a fight out of everything? When you have Lizzie Savetsky being like, Mamdani is an anti-Semite and that's why the snow isn't picked up. That doesn't help the cause. No. But when he goes out there and he makes like crazy statements about nefesh benefesh and like synagogues, and that's when it gets crazy.
Less than 24 hours later, Jewish people are getting stabbed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not stupid enough to, I understand that correlation does not equal causation, but correlation is still correlation.
He still has to calm down people because even if it isn't a stabbing, it's the fact that there's protests outside of synagogues.
Yeah,
like, it just is what it is.
And what people who like that pose don't understand, and they fundamentally, it goes back to what we were saying about what I wish non-Jews would understand. When you engage in anti-Israel sentiment like that, to the tune of, last time I checked that video, I think it had 55 million views. You are participating in language and propaganda that is inflammatory and will impact the safety of fucking Jews. Guys.
And he knows
when Mamdani goes on and says that the leader of the Jewish state is a war criminal, no matter who he is, it continues to perpetuate Soviet level anti-Semitism of Jewish control of the world, of Jewish bloodthirst, of Jewish murderous.
I mean, the word Zionist gets thrown around in ways where, like, I have an issue with the word Zionist, but like the way that it gets thrown around is very much like Jew.
Yes.
You know, it is
Talk about PR. That was one of the best PR moves that the anti-Semites ever could have pulled off, was rebranding the word Zionist.
I think I'll give ourselves 50-50 on that, because I think that the right-wing extremist Jews, I think that the moderate middle it does not engage with that word, because it's like, we're Zionists, but like, I'm not going to identify, like, I'm not going to make it my entire thing. So you have groups of people who are like made the word Zionist their entire thing. Yeah. And then you had people who made anti-Zionist their entire thing. And the whole middle spectrum of people who didn't care about this all of a sudden are lumped into this like broad paint, this paint with a broad brush about what it is. Wait, okay. Do Israelis care about Miss Rachel?
I don't think as much as us Americans do. I don't hear a lot of Israelis talking about it. I think they would care if they knew more about it. I don't know that she's incredibly popular here, or that Israeli kids are watching Miss Rachel in English. Probably some parents.
What are the kids watching in Israel?
I don't fucking know. Bluey?
Is Israeli? Is Bluey smoking? It'd be funny if all the Israeli like children's media is just, it's like Blue, it's like Paw Patrol.
Bluey's drinking blue.
Yeah, it's Paw Patrol, but they're all in the Golani brigade or anything. Yeah, Blue drinking blue. Yeah, we need to have a what's it, Nehorot? Is that what it's called? Nelrai Bluey. Yeah. Okay, I want Bluey with a big yarmulke and a blue and a cigarette. All right, next one, and it's the last one on this thing, is Rahm Emanuel's speech. A couple of weeks ago, Rahm Emanuel.
Are you asking if Israelis care?
Do Israelis care about the Rahm Emanuel speech?
I wasn't even on my radar until
really. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, dead serious, because this was a big thing in America. It was also, I don't know how to feel about it, because part of me is like, all right, this is Rahm Emanuel going to preach at a bunch of like Tel Aviv University, a bunch of Israelis on like how to fix Israel versus like working with, and also the fact that he's clearly running for president. It's the Ro Khanna thing. It's like Ro Khanna doesn't go out to the West Bank, on a purely like like a grace mission or whatever you want to call it. Like, he's going out there because he wants clips for his presidential run and everything. And that to me was the Rahm Emanuel thing.
Listen, I'm sure there are ones that are more clued in, of course, but we are just trying to get through the fucking days, dude. And that's another thing. If you were to ask me again, what do people non-Jews or people in the diaspora not know about Israelis? We are literally fighting for our fucking lives. Yeah. Okay, guys, we are so traumatized. It is beyond. Every time you get on the bus, people's, trauma responses and triggers are the fuses are so short. They're almost non-existent. Everyone walking around is a raw nerve. Yeah. So it's almost like, as an American, obviously I'm clued into the Mamdani and the Miss Rachel and the Hasbara fucking brain. I call it Hasbarat. Hasbara brain rot. Like, we're clued in on that because it's in our feeds and it's in English. But like, we are literally just trying to survive. We're trying to keep our jobs. We're trying to send our kids to school. We're trying to afford life here. We're just like getting suffocated from so many different angles that,
I think that is the thing that Americans,
it's tough out here, dude.
I talked about this on my podcast, definitely in a couple episodes ago, about how the idea of Israelis are so like idealized. That the idea of Israelis is idealized. That's not what I mean. But like the idea of Israelis in America, strong, like ruthless, not ruthless, like strong-willed, resilient, never going to back down and stuff, which is like great, definitely part of it. But at the same time, that lets you kind of be like, like they'll just handle it. Like, not acknowledging that there's severe PTSD, because a lot of it is also tied to the fact that there's wars. And PTSD here is a major problem.
Israeli resilience is so overly romanticized, especially in the diaspora.
That was the word, romanticized.
And I don't think people really understand the amount of drug use, substance abuse, PTSD, domestic violence, all of those things that we have been dealing with. When you are sending miluimnikim, reservists, to Gaza for 400 days straight, and they haven't been able to go to work. They're getting paid still. They haven't been home from with their families. The rates of domestic violence since October 7th and since the subsequent, trauma and all the other wars that we are fighting, that's when I say this isn't scalable and this isn't sustainable, like we're bleeding out. Yeah.
Last question for this. The Odyssey.
I haven't seen it.
Are the Israelis are they seeing the Odyssey? I saw it, and there was no smoking break. I saw.
How long was it?
It was. I think the Odyssey runs at about 7.5 hours, give or take. It's like a 3.5 hour movie. It's a long movie. Years ago, when I was here for yeshiva, I went. The two movies I saw during my year here were Juno.
Oh, wow.
And No Country for Old Men, to date myself like a little bit. I'm 65 years old.
Okay.
But when I was here, both of them had smoking breaks in it. Actually, the one action scene in no Country for Old Men, they had a smoking break during. My brain, this is crazy, by the way. This is actually also cokey compared to Red Bull.
I've seen your notes over there. It's getting very...
It's insane. But there was no smoking break during the Odyssey. Did they get rid of smoking breaks?
I haven't ever experienced the smoking break in an Israeli movie.
I got the smoking break twice. Juno and No Country for Old Men.
I've never experienced that. I didn't even...
No.
I love it. I mean, I used to smoke, so that would have been nice. But everybody, like a lot of people, I guess if they really needed, they would vape, maybe.
There were definitely vape.
Yeah, so maybe that's replaced the smoking break.
So Israelis, are they into the Odyssey or are they not into the Odyssey?
I don't know. I'm not into it, so I'm not clued in.
You speak for the people.
Yeah.
Margot, is there anything else that you want to tell the New York Times audience before we wrap up this episode?
I would say yes.
Yes.
If you are a advocate for the state of Israel, then these upcoming elections and the political makeup of this country is something that if you haven't yet, you deeply need to educate yourselves on and understand how it works, because I don't think that your genuinely good-willed advocacy is complete without an understanding of the leadership that is currently in power in this country.
Man, I will tell you right now, one of my biggest gripes that I have about the Hasbara universe in America is the lack of genuine... What is the Independence War? What was Six-Day War?
Oh, God.
Suez Crisis, Yom Kippur War, the Intifadas. Like, they all know about Israel from like a 10-7 and beyond metric and nothing from before that.
Yeah.
I will say this also, like... we talk about the West Bank all the time with zero idea of what it actually is. Margot, I have a present for you.
Oh, I love gifts are my love language.
Oh my God, this is Libra, classic Libra.
I'm a Virgo.
Sorry, classic Virgo. What's the love language for Libra?
Well, I don't know. It depends on the individual.
Oh my God, we got to find out.
Yeah,
mine
is gifts.
Based on Mamdani and Bibi, it's hate. Here's what it is. I don't know if you know this, but I broke a Guinness record about a year ago. I threw 50 first pitches. Do you know what first pitches? You know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
threw 50 in a year to break their world record.
Wow, they invited you back that many times?
Well, I kept on. I just emailed around.
Okay.
12 major league, the rest were minor league. I'm in Topps trading cards. And I have for you an Eitan Levine, but I signed it Bibi Netanyahu.
Oh my God.
By Eitan.
It's
this
cursed.
is, and you can go on eBay. Don't sell this, okay? But if you want to buy these cards, you have to go onto eBay because Topps did not give me any of them. Margot, for you. There you go. That's an autograph. A Bibi by Eitan. And with that, this has been the end episode of... This is the end of the episode. God, what the hell is in this? Blue, I'm not taking your sponsorship here. I'm not taking the Hasbara dollars. You know I was offered, by the way, the foreign ministry trip?
The 7,000?
I'm not going to lie. I think it's the dumbest thing we fight.
Yeah.
It happened. The money is out there. Every country... Qatar has a ministry. Ireland has a ministry. Malta has a ministry. They all have influencer budgets. It goes out there, whether it's $7,000.
Every country has it, guys, not just us.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like the $7,000 thing, I don't know if they're doing it per post, but the trip is about $7,000.
Wow.
And I think I could have probably asked for some money.
You probably
on top of
saved a lot on that LL flight. They're expensive these days.
I'll get other people to.
Eitan, thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Anytime. Israelis, if you're listening to this, I'll be back out doing a full tour in January. Aside from that, I will be, I was going to be in Phoenix. I'm not going to be in Phoenix anymore at the beginning of this month. But check out my Instagram and you can find out all the information there about where I'm going to be doing comedy. Margot, you have anything you want to plug?
Yes. Follow me on Instagram, Margot Explains It All, and on YouTube, Margot in Tel Aviv, where I'm going to be really excited to share a lot more long form content on YouTube.
And you can also, by the way, follow Margot on TikTok. It's at IDF. And she puts up all of the Jet 2 holiday content out there. We will see you guys later. You don't know this, but we end the show by going Barstool.